The settlement on Kepler 442b had been quiet for 3 rotation cycles. Too quiet. Bella stood at the observation deck of the research station, her breath fogging the reinforced glass as she watched the violet-tinged horizon. The twin suns were setting, casting long shadows across the crystalline forests that surrounded their outpost. Somewhere beyond those trees, something had changed. Still no movement. Leo's voice crackled through her comm unit. "Nothing," Bella replied, adjusting the thermal scanner mounted beside the window. "It's been 72 hours since we last detected the pack." Leo appeared beside her, carrying 2 steaming cups of synth coffee. His dark hair was disheveled from another sleepless night monitoring the alien life forms they'd been studying for the past year. The creatures they dubbed Striders, wolf-like beings with 6 legs and crystalline fur that refracted light like prisms. "The Alpha wouldn't just abandon her cubs," Leo said, handing Bella a cup. "Not unless something spooked her, badly." Bella accepted the coffee, her eyes never leaving the forest line. The Striders had been their primary research focus since landing on this world. Magnificent creatures, intelligent beyond anything they'd expected. The alpha female had been particularly fascinating. She'd shown problem-solving abilities that rivaled Earth dolphins, maybe even great apes. "I'm going out there," Bella announced. "Absolutely not, protocol says." Protocol was written for predictable situations. Bella turned to face him, her green eyes fierce with determination. "We have 3 cubs, probably barely 8 weeks old, alone in that forest. If something happened to the alpha, they won't survive another night." Leo set down his cup with more force than necessary. "And if whatever got the alpha is still out there, then we'll finally know what we're dealing with." An hour later, they were suited up and moving through the crystalline forest, their boots crunching on the unusual vegetation that grew like glass sculptures from the mineral-rich soil. The air processors in their helmets worked overtime, filtering the oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere that was almost, but not quite, breathable for humans. Bella led the way, following the tracker they'd implanted in the alpha months ago during a routine health scan. The signal had gone dead 2 days ago, but its last known location was logged in their systems. "Wait," Leo grabbed her arm, his voice tight. "Movement, 30 meters, 10 o'clock." Bella activated her scanner. Sure enough, 3 heat signatures clustered together behind a formation of crystal trees. The cubs. They approached slowly, hands visible, using the calm, non-threatening posture they'd practiced for months. The cubs should recognize them. They'd observed the pack enough times, always maintaining a respectful distance. But when they cleared the tree line, Bella's blood turned to ice. The cubs were there, but they weren't alone. And they weren't behaving like cubs anymore. They stood in formation, a perfect triangle, each positioned exactly 2 meters from the others. On their backs were devices Bella recognized immediately, tactical harness units from the supply depot, meant for human security personnel, modified somehow to fit their 6-legged frames. "Bella," Leo's voice was barely a whisper, "are those our motion sensors?" They were, mounted on the harnesses, along with what appeared to be repurposed communicators and environmental analyzers. Equipment that had gone missing over the past 3 months, items they'd attributed to inventory errors or storage mishaps. The largest cub, they'd called her Nova for the star-like pattern on her crystalline fur, stepped forward. The device on her harness emitted a sound, modulated and strange, almost like language. Bella breathed. "They're trying to communicate." Leo activated the translation algorithm on his pad, an experimental program designed to interpret non-human vocalizations. The sounds coming from Nova's device began to form patterns, structures that the AI struggled to parse. Then impossibly, words formed on the screen: Alpha, gone, WE, evolve. Bella's hands shook as she adjusted the translator settings. How is this possible? the cognitive development required too. Humans show path, the translation continued. We follow. Leo moved closer, scanning the devices on the cubs with his analyzer. Bella, these modifications aren't random. Look at the wiring, the integration with their neural patterns. This is sophisticated engineering. They couldn't have done this themselves, Bella said. Not in 3 days. Watch, always, watch. The translation sent chills down Bella's spine. How long had the Striders been observing them? Not just the pack, but all of them, the entire species perhaps. Learning, waiting. The smallest cub, Flicker, moved forward carrying something in her mouth. She placed it carefully at Bella's feet. It was the Alpha's tracker, carefully extracted, the surrounding tissue cleanly cut with what must have been precision tools. She's not dead, Leo realized, examining the device. They removed it surgically. Alpha, TACHES, far, LERNS, many, things. Bella's mind raced through the implications. The Alpha hadn't abandoned her cubs. She'd left them here with the humans while she went to, what? Gather more knowledge, make contact with other packs. The middle cub, Cascade, activated another device. A holographic projection shimmered into existence between them, crude but recognizable. It showed the research station, then zoomed out to show the entire settlement, then further to show the planet, then the solar system. Then it showed ships, dozens of them. Human colony ships still in transit, years away from reaching Kepler 442b. How do they know about the colony fleet? Leo's voice cracked. That information is classified. We don't even have access to those trajectory files. Humans broadcast everything, the translation read. We listen, learn, prepare. Bella understood then. The Striders had been intercepting their communications, all of them, every transmission sent back to Earth, every supply request, every personal message. They'd been building a picture of humanity, understanding what was coming. Question, the device translated. Humans, come many Striders, Geo, where? It was the question Bella had been dreading since they'd first landed. What happened to indigenous species when human colonization began? History, even Earth's history, told that story with brutal clarity. We're not here to replace you, Bella said slowly, knowing the translator would work both ways. We want to coexist. Words easy, came the response. Actions true. Nova stepped forward again, and the other cubs fell in beside her, their formation precise, almost military. The devices on their backs hummed with power, not threatening, but ready. Show, Alpha, what? CUBS, learn when, Alpha, RETURNS, we, negotiate, EQUALS. Equals, the word hung in the air between species, heavy with implication. Leo looked at Bella, his expression a mixture of awe and fear. We came here thinking we were the teachers. Bella watched as the cubs turned in unison, moving back toward the crystal forest with their scavenged human technology, their adapted gear, their impossible intelligence. They moved like soldiers, like scouts, like the vanguard of something humanity hadn't prepared for. We need to contact command, Leo said. The colony ships, the settlement plans, everything has to change. No, Bella replied, surprising herself. She thought of the Alpha, somewhere out there, learning, growing, preparing her species for what was coming. She thought of these cubs, forced to evolve or perish by the presence of humanity on their world. We need to figure out what equals means, before the Alpha returns, before the ships arrive. The cubs paused at the tree line. Nova looked back, her crystalline fur catching the last light of the setting suns. The device on her back emitted one final phrase. Time short, choose wisely. Then they were gone, melting into the forest like phantoms, leaving Bella and Leo standing in the alien wilderness with the weight of 2 civilizations on their shoulders. The Alpha had left her cubs unattended, not out of neglect but out of strategy, and they had returned transformed, ready for a future that neither species could face alone. Bella looked up at the stars beginning to emerge in the darkening sky, knowing that somewhere among them, colony ships full of unsuspecting humans were making their way to this world. A world that would never be the simple frontier they expected. The game had changed. The Cubs had made sure of that.